their star pitcher on the DL, but Malakis, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's been nails this year. Yeah, Nicholas Malakis.
Think about it. You have Michaelis, you have Flaherty, and you have Ponce de Leon. Like, those three guys just producing as rookies or just a little bit above rookies. It's impressive when you can get that production.
Yeah, and Martinez, who's their ace. So, scary team. I mean, I don't know how good their bullpen is. I think that was maybe their one weaker point. I can't remember.
Tyson Ross is sitting in that bullpen, too.
He's sitting there. So,
and
they're looking
Jordan
good
Hicks
right now.
closes games with
Jordan
fire.
Jordan Hicks is, when he figures out how to throw strikes consistently, he's going to be better than Chapman was in his prime. You can mark that one down.
If nobody's seen, if somebody's listening still and they haven't seen Jordan Hicks throw the baseball, I want you to watch his fastball. Not only does it come in at 102, but it has about 3 or 4 inches of break, and that break is late. It is absolutely incredible when he has it under control.
Yeah, he's filthy. Go on Twitter, search Pitching Ninja, and go search his name, and just watch. Be amazed.
And Flaherty has been pretty impressive as well. I've seen
him. He's been really good this year.
Yeah, a couple of starts.
They've won 10 consecutive series. Like, I know we're a little numb to that because, we've done a lot of winning this year. But
yeah,
that's big for teams that aren't built like us.
Yeah.
No. And they're getting there, and they're starting to... You know what? It's funny because they kind of are built like us in a way. It's just that their guys weren't doing anything, right? Matt Carpenter has been a franchise guy. Didn't do anything to start the season. He was actually awful to start the season. Ozuna, big free agent signing. Didn't do anything to start the season. Dexter Fowler struggled again to start the season. Molina, hurt. Martinez, hurt. So they had guys that were underperforming and then just injured. But now everything's kind of all together. And since they fired their manager, they've been, red hot.
And you just have to wonder if, with Matheny there, if there was like a 2017 Farrell effect going on behind the scenes. And because a lot of those guys did have bad starts. Matt Carpenter, like you guys were saying, and they just really hovered around 500 for most of the year. And so that's just one thing I'm kind of curious about. And, unfortunately for them, the Cubs have kind of caught fire as well, and the Hamels trade has been paying off, and they're scoring a lot of runs. So, how will St. Louis be able to catch them if they will, or do you think they're just going to be resigned to a possible, wild card berth? Because I think it's at 4 games right now, so there is plenty of time. And actually, I think they close the season out with each other too.
I was just going to say that their head-to-head matchups are going to tell the rest of the season. If they can take the season series, from here on out against them, they got a legitimate shot. But if they start losing 2 out of 3, getting swept by the Cubs, they're going to reside in the wild card, which wouldn't be a bad thing. You look at the Giants in the last couple of years. You look at the Yankees, last year, how far they made it, Game 7 of the ALCS from the wild card spot. It's not like football where you make the wild card, the Royals. If you make the wild card in football, you very rarely go all the way to the Super Bowl. NBA, 8 seed, you very rarely see it.
Never.
Just the Mavericks come to mind. That's about it. And then you got to go back to like the 70s, if that. Hockey, it happens all the time. Baseball, it happens all the time, too. The two sports that it doesn't matter where you end. It matters how hot you are. And that, they kind of proves it there. And this sport is weird, especially with the one-game playoff in there now, as a team like New York, who is going to win 100 games, could get bounced in the first round in one game. So it almost happened last year, but the Twins just couldn't keep it together, and Oakland could easily do that to them this year. So, Terry, who was your team that you wanted to highlight a little bit here for the NL?
I kind of picked last out of the
AL.
3 of us, but I just went with the A's. I mean, that's kind of been a team we've been paying attention to the last few weeks anyway. I think they're a game and a half out of
They're a game and a half out of the West.
Game and a half
out of the West, yeah. And I'm really hoping that they're gonna pull that out, because this isn't a team I'd want to mess with. But Mike Fiers is having a similar effect that Cole Hamels is having with the Cubs. Just been absolutely lights out. His start against Texas, he went 7 scoreless. 18 were retired in a row when he came out, and I think he gave up 1 run in 5 1/3 this weekend to the Twins. So, I mean, just really, really looking good there. Much better than Detroit. Brett Anderson has also kind of had a resurgence. He went 7 scoreless a couple starts ago. And 1 hit, too, by the way, in those 7 innings. So his ERA is down to just under 3.5. Offense can mash. Chris Davis currently is holding the Triple Crown hostage from JD Martinez at the moment in the home run category. And he's up to 265 for the year, I noticed. So
great year for Davis
in October.
Now he figured out
the game
how
with
to
a swing.
Yeah, he figured out how to hit the baseball not out of the park, which has been his Achilles heel the whole time.
Another guy who was called up recently, Ramon Laureano, has been pretty good recently. 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. 2 of those were against... I lost it. But
one of the big ones was against Houston, I believe, or he either drove in the run or he scored the run to beat Houston in that 10-inning.
Oh, that was wild. They tied it in the 9th.
Yeah,
that game
and
was
he probably should have been out, but I mean,
they reviewed it.
I'm not going to sit here and complain.
Yeah, they reviewed that.
Right.
I think I text you and Chris as soon as it happened. I'm like, "Are y'all watching this?" And it's like 2 a.m. y'all's time, and I'm just like,
I was up. I was keeping up with it on Twitter.
Crazy.
Another guy, I mean, this isn't too surprising, Jed Lowry. Usually he's on the DL by now, but has just been consistently very good all year long, and many thought he'd be maybe a trade deadline guy, but as Oakland kind of got better, he, obviously wasn't going to be moved, and he's hit 21 home runs this year with 82 RBIs, so might be able to sneak into the 30-100 category or maybe like 25-100, but definitely a guy who's been stout all season long. And Stephen Piscotty, feel-good story, lost his mother earlier in the year, but having a pretty solid year out there. So
he's a good glue guy. Piscotty, good fielder.
Yes,
good locker room guy.
Good story.
A bang average guy. Average. He'll bat 250, 260 for you every year.
Right,
and a good story too. And he's a good guy as well. He asked for that trade, which was good. And obviously, it's not any of these teams, but since we're MLB wide right now, and we just wrapped up with Terry's team, Kenji Morales has homered in 7 straight games for Toronto. Going to try and tie the record in the next game for 8 in a row. He can do it for sure. And I honestly would like to see it. I really would.
Yeah. And I'm all for records getting broken.
We don't know who he's playing, do we?
I don't know Tampa. I mean, Toronto's scheduled next, but we'll stall for a second.
We know it's not Miami, so.
It's not Miami, and it's not us.
Urena.
2 teams down. I don't think it's the Yankees either.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
All right, so he's got a legit shot of hitting in like 12 straight games.
Exactly.
And your boy's pitching, Dave.
God, which one? Oh, Tom's pitching?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. I'm actually my next Red Sox game I'm going to is the Blue Jays series. So I hope I get to see him pitch in person.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I didn't get to mention in the Colorado piece, Matt Holliday has been one of my favorite players, and I wanted the Red Sox to sign him so bad the season before last.
When he signed with the Yankees.
Yeah, he's just always been a sneaky good guy, and he's just one of those guys that is in the category of Brandon Phillips and all these old guys that just didn't get re-signed. And I mean, it's crazy to me that nobody wanted him. And I mean, if he does some serious damage for Colorado in the month of October, if all works out for them.
To do.
Yeah, That's just a great story, and one of the real good guys, of the last decade and a half in baseball. So I'd love to see it happen. And that's a team, too, that just has a lot of likable guys. Nolan Arenado and just so many of them. Yeah, so.
No, they got a lot of good. They got a lot of younger pitchers. Bettis is on that team, and a lot of guys that you kind of look at and you're like, oh, you know what? I don't know where they would even be on another roster. Where would some of these guys be on the Red Sox? Obviously, Arenado would be a stud, but you look at some of the guys, and Story is another guy. That left side of the infield is just filled with
the whole
talent.
infield.
Yeah, the whole infield just in general. I mean, even a guy like Ian Desmond, who is batting close to 200 this year, but he's at 21 home runs this year. He's going to be close to hitting 28, 30. So they got Pop in that. I think they got Chris Iannetta as well. Former Rhode Island guy, I think, a catcher that, doesn't bat for high average, but also can mash. And you got Desmond, you got Arenado, you got Story. I mean, that's 3-4 guys in your lineup that can hit a home run at any given moment. And when you're in Coors Field as well, a guy like, even a guy like Sandy would get a hold of balls all the time out there. So they're going to be a fun team to watch. I hope they make it out of the rough AL West this year, NL West, and make playoffs.
One thing in the back of my mind, and you guys also mentioned, Colorado, and we know how, it's a mile in the air and easier to hit home runs, but the one thing that's kind of been bothering me lately is I think back to the All-Star game and how those balls were flying out of, Nationals Park, and I don't know, those were off the best pitchers in the league for the most part. And I just wonder, were they juiced more than the current balls? And if so, was it kind of like a tryout for the playoffs type thing? And
it's a good conspiracy, Terry.
Well, I think
Terry's got his full hat on.
I think
that's right.
I think Rob Manfred's kind of sleazy, and I don't think there's anything he wouldn't do to try to boost ratings. And we saw the balls fly out of the park all postseason last year, and I don't know. And then Colorado uses the humidor. I think Arizona is using it this year, but I don't know. It's just we talk about pitching all the time, and our own rotation and the Yankees rotation, and I'm just wondering, is it really going to matter? Is what I'm getting at.
Is it going to go down to a slugfest? And if it does, I feel comfortable with this team and this roster at the end of the day. And I think the balls are juiced and they're different. Maybe they're just different and then they react differently. Maybe they're juiced, but they're definitely different. I mean, you look at the seams; they're a little different. All these pitchers all of a sudden developing blister problems, and they've never had blister problems their entire careers. And it's a lot of even younger guys. They go 25 years, I'm good, and then all of a sudden I have 3 blisters in a year. What's going on? So definitely something up with the balls, but the other side of that is that when you get the All-Star games and stuff like that, you get 3 guys in a row throw 100, right? Well, if you catch up to that ball that throws 100 and you hit it, it's going to go 115 out. So there's that aspect too. Like when Devers hit that home run off Chapman last year, Devers has good power, right? But he doesn't have David Ortiz power, I don't think, right? But when you hit when the ball comes in at 101, it's going to go out faster than it came in. So that means it's going out 106.
Yeah, well, he did hit a line drive right before he went on the DL that probably never went higher than 20 feet in the air. And
that home run into the bullpen?
Yeah, so I think he is a strong
Devers
kid.
has power.
Yeah,
Devers has good power. It's just that there's that elite power, right? The J.D. Martinez, the Manny Ramirez, the David Ortiz power that can hit the ball 470. And I don't know if Devers has that, but he has the opportunity to hit 410, 420 all the time. But
yeah, just my
we'll see.
Final thought on that. I just want the balls to be the same, in the regular season as they are in the postseason. There has to be integrity there, and I don't know that that's going to be the case. So we kind of skipped over the preview, so we'll just do that now, and then we'll wrap.
Perfect. Yep.
Jose Urena against Brian Johnson. Obviously, Urena is basically their ace, but Johnson did shut them down earlier in the year. So, that probably isn't too bad of a matchup for the Red Sox.
No,